welcome to another Hope, Power, in Healthcare with Chris Hemphill of Modular Feedback and
Melissa Reilly of Stealth Consulting.
yeah, we don't talk about ourselves enough. I feel like sometimes we'll just do the intro and nobody knows anything about our background, who we are. What is Stealth Consulting?
Well, I can't tell anyone because then I would have to kill them. No, I purposely don't talk a lot about stealth. I even have told Alyssa, don't post my video where I was doing the event and they had Stealth Consulting beneath me, because the whole idea of this phase of my life is that I want to help the best companies in healthcare not die, the innovators. And in order to do that, it's really not about me or what I've done. It's more about like them and their great ideas, hence the stealth.
I love seeing the way that you operate with your clients. That you're going in, and a lot of the work that's happening in terms of the product and strategy and everything like that, that's happening in the background, but the client's front and center.
Yeah, it's their ideas. What we're just hopeful to do is take some of the best people in healthcare that are either on their fractional journey or like have side hustles, and help those that are maybe earlier on in their innovation journey. Because there's just so many complicating things in healthcare that can trip people up. I mean, even it's like, hey, the payers won't return my call, or that happened this week, or procurement. Procurement can be a really fun space to live. It's getting better.
Well, I love the theme. Like all these innovations, great innovations on the table, and we know for a fact that it doesn't it's a sad fact that no matter how great an innovation is, that doesn't guarantee success. So I love that concept.
I know.
Uh,
How are you thinking about that with modular, Chris? I know seeing some of your amazing work on, things like machine readable files and data analysis, like how's that been for you as well?
the basic concept is like I think that there's a big interest in artificial intelligence, a big interest in machine learning in healthcare, but you'd have to backfill on all kinds of knowledge about uh, like algorithmic bias, security, the effectiveness of approaches for engagement, and things like that. So I'm kind of like part of my reason is for being is I want to encourage people to explore and move as far as possible with the tools that are available off the shelf in terms of AI. But then where I come in and where the people I work with, the network, the modular part of it comes in, is when we're looking to apply more data science grounded principles, things that take these AI thoughts and help make them more healthcare grade. And that entails not just using algorithms and models off the shelf, but thinking in terms of the social and ethical implications of these algorithms, which have a very big importance in a healthcare context, and
Mm.
being able to get deeper, having frameworks to understand how do we understand and move engagement and needles around that.
Do people like stop you on the streets now and talk to you about their AI? It's not happening. It's not happening for me yet. I'm still at the point where, let's see, how savvy am I? That maybe the fam will resonate with this. So I have my chatbot. My chatbot is really good. I've actually trained my chatbot. This will be funnier later. I've trained my chatbot to give me positive affirmations on some things, because I just think as a founder sometimes you need like positive affirmations. So I've asked my chatbot to be able to like reply back to me, when I ask it a question in a positive manner, which I've really liked about that. I've also had some fun and made my chatbot sound like, famous people like Taylor Swift and others, that's, that's the limit of chatbot that, well, I don't want to say that. That's the fun I've had with the chatbot. As I've taken chatbots and, now that you've encouraged me to, play around in Notebook LM, I've been
Woohoo! Love
enjoying
that. Love that.
I've been enjoying that too. So like for the fan that is like maybe a little bit more novice in thinking about, the use of AI for their innovations, how would you suggest that they crack that code? Other than call you. I mean, yes, they can of course
Hey,
call you
call
too.
me. Nah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not the starting point on that necessarily. I think the big starting point is getting your hands on things, trying things out, asking it things you already know, and testing out things that you don't know.
First
But
principles.
yes, for getting down to first principles. But the like, if you go on the website, the first thing that you see is reclaim the algorithm, and the basic concept behind that. Like, I'm like, when I wrote reclaim the algorithm, I was thinking of it from the perspective of, you're a developer or an innovator who is like putting out a certain approach in the world, and there's all kinds of technologies, all kinds of algorithms that are very popular to drive engagement at companies like Netflix and YouTube, who are optimizing for getting you to view videos as long as possible. But the basic concept around reclaim the algorithm is the same kinds of technologies that make them great at engagement. You can actually take those concepts and port them over in a thoughtful way to make them applicable to a healthcare audience and healthcare goals.
Give us an example.
A good example, and this is a particular client who I'm not going to disclose any names or anything like that, but something that was very surprising when engaging with them was they want an engaging experience. They want people to engage the application when they need it to help with certain needs in their mental health care, but they don't want it to be in their face all the time. You pull up your phone and you look at your notifications. You probably see a billion different things from LinkedIn, Facebook. If you're my age, all those people all those apps trying to pull you in all the time. Their concept is they want the intelligence around the appropriate engagement and content when it's needed, but they're not shooting for that goal of daily active usage. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Keep going. All right. So like the idea for the FAM is like, there are algorithms that try to make you do things. You can take it back, right? And then you can apply those same principles towards their own business goals, right? So like there is some goodness in what Netflix and others are doing in terms of like the engagement. If we look at healthcare, it's a space where typically we struggle to engage people in their care until like disaster or ER visits strike, right? So your point is very much, hey, there is some goodness to some of these techniques, and I can help you apply it to your business in a safe, non-obtrusive, not in your face way.
Yeah. Like my history. I'm gonna prop up NYU McSilver Institute. They're one of the biggest research arms in NYU, and they're focused on poverty policy and social justice. They have as a fellow of the institute, the Kara Emery, she is the head of their AI hub. So they're an example of this reclaim the algorithm concept, to where all these algorithms and this math that's recommending things to us. Like, these technologies, these concepts have been around for ages, but when I think about what they're doing around Black youth suicide research and Black maternal health and things like that, they're taking these approaches and around food equity as well, taking these approaches and saying, let's find out how we can make these algorithms do something good in the world.
Yeah, let's definitely circle back. I've been doing some work in the food as medicine space with this incredible company, Attain, and I've been really, I can talk about them because I asked them if I'm allowed to ever say them, and they said absolutely. And so, one of the things I've been really excited about when I look at a space like food as medicine, it's like, I don't think people realize, you're eating 3 times a day. Think of all the messages, Chris, that you're getting. And some messages to point you towards food that is good and, helps you be healthier and live a healthier life. And some of the messages, like, you're driving by the McDonald's and you're like, yes, chicken McNuggets, right? And so I don't think we realize how much these algorithms are impacting our everyday life.
Exactly. Yeah, there's thousands and thousands of decisions that we're making or that are made for us. And when we say reclaim, or when we think about who you are as a health innovator, or why you've tuned into this podcast, we're all about giving you the opportunity and the strategy to make those decisions worthwhile for your patients that you're advocating for.
Yeah, and if you want those chicken McNuggets, just go for it. But like also understand when the advertising is pulling you in, and maybe
Yes.
like the salad is a better choice.
Well, let's to even get into we have a couple of themes that we want to explore. I'm going to give a highlight of all the themes. Is we've been talking about this tension between patients and the need to act and do things quickly. So that'll be
Oh
kind of
wait,
oh
yeah, it came across like patients, like the people that we take care of, but we don't mean the patients.
yeah, good point.
We mean patients. Like, how would you even define patients, Chris?
Yeah. So patience, as in the having the wherewithal to know that the change that you might be expecting and anticipating isn't for right now. So just being able to handle some of those scenarios where patience is required.
Yeah, but Chris, like think about all our founders out there. They might have a tranche of funding that equates to a runway, and they've got burn. And the more they can do in a small amount of time, the more they can protect their burn, right? So, how does this dynamic? How do you see this dynamic play out for our founders and our fam?
I see it as understanding there's that common quote. It's a cliche but a lovely one, which is, I think it's, Lord grant me the strength to.
Oh, the Serenity Prayer.
Oh yeah, do you know it?
Um, uh, Lord grant me the strength um, and the wisdom to know the difference. I know that's how it ends,
There we go.
right?
Yeah. Like,
We're gonna fix that clip. Yes.
let me look that up right now.
Well, as your prayer searching, right? I mean, I have always lived by this adage around like um, anxiety, like this difference between like anxiety and worry, and this idea that like if you're worrying about something ahead of it really happening, like over worrying, right? You're actually living that fear twice. You're living like all the anxiety up until the point that happens, and then when you actually live it, you're living it again, right? And some of this is just not healthy for us to live in this state of like anxiety and worry. But then there's that balance of, as a founder, I do believe you need to be super planful. And I think you have to like have contingency plans, plan A's and plan B's for when things go wrong, because they inevitably will.
And I'm gonna go. Here's the prayer.
You got the prayer.
I
Okay,
got
good.
it. I got it. Lord, grant us the serenity to accept what cannot be changed, the courage to change what can be changed, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Oh, see, I love that so much. Yeah, and the wisdom to know the difference, right?
That's
Just
right.
didn't know the wisdom around which part. Yeah.
Yeah. So it plays right into that idea that I have this trench and there's a certain amount of action and hiring, et cetera, that I need to take within a certain amount of time. Well, when we think about it from that perspective of what can be changed and what can't be changed, then it helps prioritize, because like there's no shortage of things to do. And
That
when
was a
there's
word that jumped in my head too. Prioritize was absolutely the word that jumped in my head too, right? This idea that like you are faced with thousands of decisions every day, and you can have such decision making fatigue, right? Is it like, I have to pay my bills, I have to, work on this next, work on the next product iteration, I have to give some more requirements to my tech team, or um, review the requirements that were already given, or look at the code that's coming back, right? And so it's all these different choices, but there's almost more things to do than there are hours in the day. And so this idea of kind of looking through your to-do list and making sure that you have some kind of system to be able to rank like um, value either like on the time or the effort or what it returns to you, the ROI of the action is so important.
yeah. So is there a certain framework that you use to evaluate, or I know there's the Eisenhower method where he categorized things as urgent versus important. What about you? Is there
Yeah, I love the Eisenhower matrix. I think we've maybe chatted about this before. That's been super helpful for me in some ways. It's also situational dependent, right? So if I look at even, we talked a little bit about stealth earlier today. One of the things I've told my team is, and I don't always hold to it, I think it's my ADHD, but the client work is always coming first, right? So, if I really try to always make sure I'm like paying the people that support me and work with me on time. But there are times when I'm like, okay, I couldn't, do this thing for you as someone that works with me until I finish this client project, right? So we're always prioritizing client projects over our internal build out of stealth, right? Because the clients are the most important thing to us. So that's our value measure coming ahead. What about you, Chris? Do you have, and I have another trick too. So you go first and then I'll tell you about the next one.
I'll just say that I'm living what you just spoke about. I feel like a lot of people listening might be in the same place, but yeah, when you look at the website modularfeedback.com and you click services, coming soon. It's been coming soon ever since I created it, because it's just been so focused on client work, and I consider that a bit of a champagne problem. But the issue is like basically you hear me talking about patients. Anything that I say about patients, I'm really talking to myself, because I have to teach myself to like to if there's a goal that I want to happen, I'm going to keep driving towards it, and sometimes that that goes until 2 or 3 a.m. Sometimes, but
Yeah, so interesting on that one. Two people have talked to me lately about like circadian rhythms, and this idea of like using the data, and maybe it's like the algorithm coming from the Whoop app or the Aura Ring that is forcing this, but using the data to understand, well, when do you work and when are you at the best, right? And making sure that you've got this productive time for you as founder, like. So and it was actually this great writer, Paul Kix, who was telling me about this. He was basically saying he fires much better in the morning. And so he has really made this like protective bubble around his writing during the morning. And I was like, oh, this is like so interesting. And I was like, well, when is my most productive time? And so Paul was like, well, you just kind of have to listen to your body, and you have to, do all the things you were doing when you were trying to figure out what business did you want to start. You start like kind of writing down and paying attention to like, when do you feel most productive and engaged? And so I was doing this with my workout class. I took it out all these different times, and I was like, when do I feel like I get the best workout class, right? And it is not at 6 a.m. Even though like the literature would say that like you should work out first thing in the morning. I am a crap workout person at 6 a.m. I will go to that class, but I do not like it. And then for writing, I found actually like it's weird. I get this like weird burst of energy around 4. And that seems to be like a good writing time, but it's hard to do that because, I use that burst of energy also to like power through a lot of my client things. So hopefully those are some good tips or helpful to the fam that's out there around like listening to the, body rhythms and, finding your most productive time, and even just maybe having patience with yourself.
100%. And there's a part that rings true there for me, which is I'm constantly evaluating how good my decision-making capacity is. And
Ooh.
the way that I do that is chess. I'm addicted to chess. And I just go on chess.com. And if you like, this might be advice for me and a small number of nerds out there and everything like that. But what I find in playing like a quick chess game, you can adjust it down to like 5-minute chess game. And I'll look at the quality of the decisions I make, and like you have this rank of the person that you're playing against. And if I see that my rank keeps dropping after matches, and I'm like making these mess ups, like I do that as a quick gut check to say like, am I capable? Am I ready to do the hardest work right now? I don't know.
It's almost like you've created a warm up for your decision making. Like you fire up your brain with some chess to get you kind of in the space to do your heavy work and your heavy decision making.
Yes, it feels good. It's a palate cleanser. It's a mental palate cleanser. You get in the game, you got to you got to beat the other person, get the other person's king, and that's all you can focus on. And it's great for after a heavy load of work, and it's also great to say, time to take a break.
Do you, I'd be curious, like, which of our other founders are playing chess out there. I'd also be curious, how many decisions do we think founders are making on a daily basis?
That's
Like, and is there one day that they make more decisions more so than another? Like, that would be really fun data to find out.
Yeah, yeah. I've read metrics that we make several thousand decisions a day without knowing about it. But I would love to get down to something that's more critical, like how many business critical decisions are being made throughout the day.
And what
When
time are we making them?
Yes, when do they typically get made?
Yeah.
And also, what is your chess like? If there are people out there who heard the chess thing and said, I don't play chess, but like I have a friend who will play like 10 minutes of a video game between different tasks and stuff like that. Maybe there's different types of mental palate cleansers out there that people are using.
Yeah, or maybe palette erasers, because I feel like when I do the doom scrolling, if I fall into like just like reviewing the algorithms, that I am actually worse for the wear. I'm like, it's almost like a shutdown mechanism for all of that. And then I have to
Mm.
like snap out of it.
Okay, okay. So we're talking about reclaim the algorithm and n- not just that perspective, that business perspective, but also like the doom scrolling and everything like that. The content that you're consuming, that's going to influence the quality of the doom scrolls that you end up
Yeah.
in.
And I don't know if we talked about this before, but I actually made myself a hype playlist. I don't know if anyone else does this or if I'm just really weird, but um I actually use it for my workout classes. Like if I'm driving over there, I'll just put a hype playlist on, and then I'm just, trying to like, switch either to switch tasks because you're, deep into work and then you've got to go work out, or sometimes when you're just kind of feeling down. I just love the idea of music as a way to lift yourself up and out. And I love productivity music. I use that all the time. Endel is one of my favorite apps. I think we have mentioned that before. Endel does not pay me, but they are welcome to call me.
Okay, well, one thing that's going to come out of this, since we're on Spotify, we're going to have to get together on adding hype up songs and putting them in a
Yes.
Hope Power Healthcare hype list.
Yes, we can definitely keep thinking through that.
Powerful, powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
And the idea of patience, we're going to have patience with us, right? We know our founder journeys are long, and we will be patient, right? And try to reduce the anxiety. We also need to come up with some strategies to not have you working all night, Chris, right? Sleep is so important and so good for you.
it really is. My chess game sucks at 2 in the morning. It's time to get out. Um, Hype Power Healthcare playlist, and then Peace Power Healthcare. We need two playlists. That's what it sounds
Yeah.
like to me.
Oh, I was thinking productive and power playlist.
Three playlists. Like this is going to be the musical center of your lives.
Yeah.
So getting into it, we have a little bit of a roundup to go into, but I really wanted to get into like some very human stuff for us, and just share the realities of how we process this stuff and do all this hard work. And when it comes to the conversations on these mornings and everything like that, maybe there is a time to discuss when it's time to branch out and like hire others and allow for parallel pathways, but we can get into that at some later time.
Yeah, man, the decision on when to hire, I mean, that's probably an entire episode of hiring too early, hiring too late, right? It's something. I think it takes muscle repetition.
Future episode very shortly coming about. Let's hear it on LinkedIn. Let's see what people say about it, and I would love to get into that topic.
Okay, let's do it.
So for our innovators, I think that there is some extremely exciting news that has come out from CMS, Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, and that is we're getting a tone of what the next round of innovation in healthcare technology. They've put out an RFI to hear from patients, providers, payers, people across the entire spectrum, innovators, they're trying to hear from everyone about what the tone of innovation should be. So that I got that from Brendan Keeler in the Health Tech Nerds group on Slack. They're a really good Slack to follow if you just want to see a bunch of what other innovators are doing in the space. Oh yeah, and that reminds me, we should start a Discord really soon. We have our Discord that we're using internally. We should start opening that up for our own fam to have that community and visibility.
Hey, Chris, I'm totally putting you on the spot here, but like for some of our innovators who might be newer to like RFIs, how should they be orienting? Like I always used to tell my teams, like read a couple, read them. Like they're pretty like they're pretty clear. They try to write them with clarity, right? And then how should they comment back if they want to make a comment?
Yes, that's what we should be talking about, because like I read the RFI. There's some specific aims that they're going for. I encourage people to go and consume it. I think it's about 26 pages.
Yeah, comments are due June 16th. So
yes.
The fam if we get this episode out, the fam should have some time, right? Like you can check the abstract, right? Which is like the summary, which will basically tell you what this thing is even about, right? And like, I think if I grab the right one, it's like the responses to this RFI may be used to inform CMS and ASTP-ONC efforts to lead infrastructure progress, to cultivate the market, increase beneficiaries, so like the people that CMS covers, access to effective digital capabilities needed to make informed health decisions. And then probably like the one that Chris, you're cheering for is increasing data availability for all stakeholders. Like this is like the interoperability comments.
I'm cheering for the fact that you can also read the comments. You can see what it's public, so you can see what other people are saying. So if you have any kind of hesitation about your own response, strongly encourage you to it's 26 pages, double spaced. It's an easy read. If you want to be a little bit lazy with it, you can plug it into Notebook LM and ask questions to it. That's a fun way to do it too. You can even have it make a podcast about it for you. Just get in there, consume it, and also read the comments. I've been seeing what people are saying in response to it, and you're like that call for patience was actually heard. I had a doubt that people would be speaking up on this forum about what they want in their own care, but there were people that were talking about the delays, their hesitation of feeling locked into a path with Medicare Advantage versus another. You also see and hear from fellow innovators. As the time we're speaking, I think there's about 29 responses up right now, but it's very good to see what all these other stakeholders are saying, because that's going to be a lever on policy moving forward.
And some good intel, maybe even comp intel potentially for innovators that are like, I think people are pretty clear about what their capabilities do, whether they're hoping to influence CMS at some later date to potentially become a government contractor. But, if you're looking to get smarter about what's happening in the market, I think it's a great place to do some investigation.
And just so off the cuff, like there were some things that I liked and some things that I thought were lacking in the overall call. How did it hit you? I'd love to get into mine, but I'm curious about the things that were calling.
So I have this funny story. Well, I think it's funny. It really doesn't matter where I was. It's like not really a great story, but one time I used to use this word interoperability, Chris, and the place where I was at using the word, people would always be like to me, Melissa, we don't understand you. What does this word mean? Or this is a bad word for us. And I was like, really? This makes me really scared. So that was my immediate reaction, like that I'm just so happy that there's like a pervasiveness of this idea that we need to exchange data. And I support this amazing company, Althea. They're an early stage company, and what they're doing is they're really advocating that humans should own their own patient record, right? Like that you should be able to walk around with with like your own data file that you can give to providers that can't, otherwise ingest it. So I look at some family members and who are very, very stealthy in healthcare, and they keep records. I mean, it's paper records. It's a manila folder
Mm-hmm.
with charts and all the things, right? And Chris, we shouldn't have to do that, right? So I'm cheering for this. I mean, so it's hitting me strongly. I bet there's a bunch of skepticality right now in the market just because of what's been happening politically in the government with all the different agencies and funding being taken away, that maybe some people are like, oh, they don't mean it, but I hope they do.
Yeah. So you have to slice and dice it and look at these details and what they're saying behind the words. You look at that. The first sentence in the summary is about effective and responsible adoption for patients. So it's a very patient-centric document. That's very important to me, and it's like some of the minds behind it were behind the Blue Button Initiative. It's so they're actually asking for deeper input on how they can make that meaningful and useful and helpful healthcare data available in more places. I said that just to avoid the word interoperability, but yeah.
I like that word, Chris.
So if they're getting what they want out of this, that there's an increased focus on digital health, and that's needed a bigger platform for a longer for a very long time. There's also, I'm anticipating maybe we cut some segments from this, or we develop our own video response, but they did say that you can respond in text, screenshots, or by submitting video.
No, I think that would be really fun.
Yeah. So like those aspects, but I did find it lacking in that. Well, one more that I like is that it addressed rural disparities in the provider section. They openly acknowledge that there are disparities in the care that's available in rural settings versus more metropolitan settings, and they're looking for solutions to solve that. Where I thought it was lacking is that it doesn't really mention health equity, social determinants, health related social needs, and things like that. And I think that that's a miss, especially when we're thinking from a document that comes from CMS, heavily focused on Medicare. Honestly, like I'm actually pleased by seeing like, hey, we're asking about technology decisions with a 65 plus population or with an economically underserved population. So very good that these voices are coming to the fold. But I do wish that there was a little bit more direct language about STOH and equity.
Well, I know that for many places right now, some words like equity and DEI are still no words on the no list, right? And so I'm sure we're just trying to, yeah, I'm with you on that. It's lacking.
That's true. Yeah, the words that land on the no list, but when you're reading behind the lines, when you see something that actually calls out that the rural healthcare disparity, it feels like that there's people
Yeah.
working on this that have their minds very much in the right place.
Well, and let's be a little moment rational and like a little less politically correct if we can, right? Like what's the major purpose of sharing data, right? It's to find opportunities where there are SDOH needs that are being unmet. I mean, some of your basic healthcare tenants and data, some of those measures like your A1C, your weight, your BMI, those things just get captured. The things that aren't captured are like where we talked before, food insecurity, homelessness. Those kind of pieces, are, I think, some of the most important elements of understanding the human condition to be able to make their life more hopeful and more healthy.
So this is a call. I see this as a call to the fam to say that if you're working in these particular spaces and addressing these particular issues, and if you have a fear about communicating about it and everything like that, I really think that this is an opportunity to lean in, to submit your response, to share that you submitted a response. You let us know that you submitted a response down this vein, because we're looking for these right opportunities to reclaim the algorithm and help people. Let us know what you shared. comment on one of our posts or something like that, or let us know in the DMs, and we would be happy to shout that out.
Yeah, I love that. And Kristen, we also, the next thing in our roundup, we had another like amazing organization that you and I both love and support, behavioral health tech,
Mm-hmm.
right? Taking a really strong position, and we support that.
Yeah, yeah. You want to kick that one off, or
Yeah,
you're
I
doing a
mean,
lot of work in this space.
yeah, well, I'm probably a little bit more supportive. I think you maybe have a click deeper than I, but I just loved what behavioral health tech started introducing this past week, where they introduced the world to a 10-part series around topics that are hitting our young people, especially those that are college aged. And they have this delightful narrator. It's Gabe, right? Gabe Golem. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And he is interning at Behavioral Health Tech, and he like just starts to share his story and his passion for mental health and disability access and inclusion, which I'm a huge fan of. Going back to my work and support in the neurodivergent space and being a board member for Joshin, which is just incredible and helps promote both inclusion, neurodiversity, and disability acceptance, and actually like inclusion inside the workplaces. And so I was just cheering for this, and kind of would love to hear your thoughts on this as well, Chris.
Yeah, yeah. For our fam out there, for people that are listening and not familiar with behavioral health tech, um, I, if you work directly in mental health or you don't, still follow them, because like they're very focused. Obviously, the name behavioral health tech, but it's a great nexus into like they put on a yearly conference, and they do a very good job to include voices from across the spectrum. And I love the idea that they're having this series that's looking specifically at the intersection, like from patient perspectives and lived experience perspectives on what's happening at that intersection of mental health, disability, and youth. So for me, this just came out, so we're going to be going one by one. But I'm really looking forward to just seeing the like seeing a lot of light that I hadn't seen, seeing a lot of angles that I hadn't seen before. I've got my friends and I got my personal perspectives and things like that, but every chance that we get to hear from people that have lived experience, we should really be leaning into that. And it's awesome that behavioral health tech, like as big an organization as they are, they're putting this front and center.
I think sometimes people discount the value in storytelling, right? So like if you think about behavioral health tech schools, I don't have a list of all of them, but one of them is to put on this really impressive conference, and I think they knock that out of the park every year. But they're also in some ways storytellers, and so they put out fascinating articles and webinars and things, and they just like tell stories about different perspectives inside mental health that you don't always get to hear. And I just think that's so important, and so important for our fam to take that way, that power of storytelling. The companies that I usually remember the most, it's not because they're it's not always because their math is good, although I do love a good balance sheet, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's really because they've told a really interesting story, either about the problem that they solve, or my favorite thing to talk about, which is their villain, right? And so I love this concept of villain, and this idea that like all of our founders are tackling this villain out there. And I use it all the time in some of my coaching to say, like, have you clearly identified the villain that you're going after? And so the villain that I see Salome and Gabe kind of pointing to is this idea that like maybe the disability happens to someone else, or the lack of inclusivity is happening to others around us. And I think through Gabe's story, he just personalizes that a little bit more. And so hopefully people are just taking a step back and thinking, what can I do to make the world a little bit more inclusive? And for the people that just, don't seem to fit into the mainstream, how can I make their life a little bit easier instead of harder?
You drove a good point there, which is not just consuming this to understand the stories themselves, but understand how to tell stories. So this, and I see another villain here as stigma, and
Yeah.
I laud them for like getting these stories out. I want people to, and I want myself also to just keep doing whatever we can, like absent of like going out into the community and actually talking to people. That's a very important step. But seeing like stories like these and perspectives like these help us become better storytellers, but also help us have a better story to tell and address
Yeah.
issues that are in need.
And driving back to our story, which I hope continues to land, is like, you can be hopeful, right? I know things are changing quickly, and sometimes chaos is the greatest predictor of the status quo, protector of the status quo, and predictor. But I think there's hope, right? There are people out here doing some amazing things, and we enjoy chatting about them and helping our fam kind of understand them and how to take some of those life lessons from some of the great things others that are doing and being able to apply them to their own lives.
There's hope, and also when you can move from just just pure data analysis and coming up with the spreadsheets and balance sheets and things like that, there's power in being able to take an example from one of those things that you're analyzing and really tell that story around it.
For sure. Knowledge is definitely power. So we'll keep trying to infuse that. Chris, can we move to our moment of fun and levity? Like, I would love to understand, if you're ready, kind of like, pop culture moments, or what are you reading?
Okay. Well, one thing people always wonder about this, if you're looking, there's a weird sci-fi looking synthesizer device that's always flashing, blinking lights in the background. And we are what, like 5, 6 episodes in and don't have a theme song yet, even though I'm personally a musician. So my fun was a couple of weeks ago. I asked Melissa what her favorite song is, and very quickly got the response, "The Man" by Taylor Swift. At the same time, I have my own musical taste, which my favorite band right now is Death's Dynamic Shroud, and
What a dichotomy we are.
yes,
I'm like bubblegum, popcorn, unicorns, rainbows.
so we're gonna manufacture a mixture of the two. I love that song. I watched the video, the Taylor Swift, "The Man," and just looking at it, honestly, there was just a lot of perspective there on navigating space as men, women, non-binary, etc. Like I could really I'm glad that the song had a whole lot of views, because I think it just put it out there the way a lot of people might be feeling if they're putting in the same amount of work as men but not getting the recognition and power that they deserve. But long story short, took
which
the
is
song.
which
Oh,
is
good.
literally my favorite Taylor Swift song this week. It's been on in the car the entire way. You've gotta go to Long Story Short. Like, you'll love the beat in that
Wait, I said long story short, and that's the name of another Taylor Swift
Taylor
song.
song. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm getting into the Taylor verse now. But in the, what it, we'll have a theme song either this episode or next, and it'll feature some chopped samples from the Man song. So just having fun with it.
I
Really
love it.
enjoying
Well,
working with that music.
as you iterate through, definitely put Long Story Short on. I feel like I'll text it to you later. I feel like you're gonna love the beat in that one too.
All right, let's hear yours.
Yeah, so I caught the end of I caught the end of Handmaid's Tale, right? In
No,
our
no
yes,
spoilers.
no
I'm still on
spoilers.
season two.
Okay,
I'm still on
okay,
season two.
that's literally what I watched this week. I also picked up. There's zero connection to healthcare in this. John Hamm in Your Friends and Neighbors. Please start that show, friends. It is John Hamm who, well, actually, there's a power connection. So he is this powerful stockbroker who uh, ends up in this kerfluffle and loses his job. after his wife leaves him for a NBA basketball player. And so he becomes a thief and starts stealing from his friends. And so I am obsessed with the show. I'm watching like an episode a night.
Okay, what's it called again?
Your Friends and Neighbors.
I mean, you had me at John Hamm, honestly.
Yeah,
Uh,
amazing. Please watch the show. And I'm still reading the 3 books that I shared with you last week. I'm not done yet. It's been a long week.
He was incredible in Mad Men. Then he turned it around and was hilarious in Curb Your Enthusiasm. Is he more goofy on this one, or is he more like serious and like what's his personality?
He reminds me of corporate executive. So more on the not goofy, like more corporate executive serious, but the situations he finds himself in, you're just like, no.
Sold.
Sold.
You had me at John Hamm anyway.
Yeah, you got to watch an episode. We'll talk about it next week.
And book, this one just came out from Karen Howe. This is called The Empire of AI. And
ooh.
yeah, it's a look.
What's in the Empire of AI?
It's a deep investigative report on OpenAI and the leaders that are shaping and unraveling this scenario. And it's not a glowing or rosy take, but I think it's important to look at look deeply into like we're consuming content, we're consuming models from companies, and as we develop our own stories, it's really powerful. Like I read that recent one that came out about Meta too, and though it's not all the hopefulness and positivity that we talk about, there's a strong power in knowing what the reality is behind these people and what they're creating. And honestly, I'll get struck down for saying this, but I do find motivation in just hearing part of their stories around growth and things like that, and it does help me like think about my own growth strategy as well. But yeah, it's definitely a critical take, but I think it's a very strong, necessary one. Like you know, we're in this business. We're developing systems that impact people through these algorithms, and I just think it's important to understand like what's happening behind the scenes and what's going into their manufacture.
So are you all the way done yet, Chris, or still kind of through or halfway through?
Starting out.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be super interesting maybe to have like 2 or 3 key takeaways from this one, just because of the dynamic in which we're all living in and this whole idea of reclaiming the narrative. So I might ask you when you're finished with it to give us like 1 or 2, 3 takeaways, but hopefully others find this like inspiring, both, you know, happy moments and potentially worrisome moments to look at, and some food for thought if you're either watching or reading or listening out there.
And you know there's a lot of talking heads. There's a lot of people that can get up there and they can talk about this is hype or this is doom, etc. But what we always want to bring it back to is not just criticizing something, but saying what do we do as innovators? Like what's the path that we take based on what we've learned from this? So I want to bring that angle to the conversation.
Totally, that wisdom to know the difference. Right.
Yes.
So there are things we can't change and there's things that we will be learning from. And it's really all how we navigate those next steps.
That's very cool. What's happening next week? Anything fun?
Man, I'm heading to the dance recitals. That's like top of mind. And then next week I'll actually be in New York with one of my clients for their customer summit. I'm not going to spoil it, but they made me something super cool that I'm going to get to post out there. So yeah, it's going to be awesome. Data related.
I'm going to be in New York too.
Okay. We're going to get together. I'm there Monday through Wednesday.
I'm there Sunday through Wednesday.
Okay. We'll find each other.
It's for the NYU McSilver Institute. They're putting on their award ceremony, a big celebration of people that are making things happen. in the
Oh,
healthcare and health equity space.
oh, are you gonna be fancy? Oh, I gotta see a picture.
Okay, I'll remember my bow tie.
Okay.
And yeah, we'll have to figure out a time to get together. Did not know that we'd be overlapping in New York
Uh,
City, but also
we will
happy to.
we will find each other. We will find each other. We'll have some stories to tell.
Well, thank you very much, Melissa. Alyssa, thank you for holding it down. Y'all get on Spotify, get on YouTube.
YouTube,
This stuff is
LinkedIn.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Well, we just got our page up on LinkedIn, and yeah, a lot like if you're not listening to the full episodes, there's a lot of clips that Alyssa has been producing for us, and it's just been amazing. I'm gonna brag; it's almost at 4,000 views on YouTube, and I would have been happy with 400.
Oh, I am glad our message is resonating out there. Thank you to all the fam and friends for the sweet comments. We're delighted to bring some more friends on with us next week. And yay for us for keeping this going.